Hi everyone, it's Jessica. Let's say that I have a new idea of instead of us being one-to-one with devices in our school that we provide to the students, let's save some money with our school funding and allow our students to bring their own devices. What would that take? Well, the first thing is we need to understand what bring your own device actually means. And bring your own device allows students to bring their own devices from home to allow them to use them in the classroom to assist with their learning. It's not an easy process to set up. It's going to take all of us to be involved in setting it up, but it's going to be very beneficial in the end, according to Ackerman and Krupp in an article written in 2012. So why bring your own device? I mean, we already have one-to-one devices in our classroom, and our system seems to be working pretty well. But think about those younger grades where we only have like 12 iPads in the classroom, and the students are sharing the iPads with a 2-to-1 ratio. What kind of difference can it make? Let's look at this YouTube video to see.
Meet Stu and Dent, two typical high school students. Stu comes from a pretty great home where he's got access to a smartphone, tablet, and laptop, all the tools he could ever need. Dent's family just can't afford that right now. Luckily, Stu and Dent earn a class with a laptop cart. But because there are only 10 computers in that cart, Stu and Dent have to share each computer with at least 4 other students. That just doesn't work. Although students work in groups, those without their hands on the computer just disappear from the lesson. Stu and Dent are in the same small group for a project. Stu has this great idea for the project and wants to use his smartphone, tablet, and laptop on the new school wireless. But when he tries to connect his personal equipment, he's blocked from the school Wi-Fi. Stu wonders how he can get access to the internet on his devices at his favorite coffee shop, but not at school. Back in class, he must power down his devices and rely on only those few class machines. And hopefully, he'll be one of the lucky few to get access. Of course, because Stu has so much access to technology at home, he's a whiz at it. So guess who jumps to the group's aid to get the project done? Stu! And again, everyone else just fades away. But what if Stu could use his own devices? There's a new push for BYOD, Bring Your Own Device, where Stu could get internet access at school with his tablet, and his classmates could use their smartphones, you know they've got them, or even a personal laptop. And now Dent can have that much-needed access to the school computer from the laptop cart. Now no one disappears. So let's put a big dent in the digital divide. Provide for the students that really need our help while helping students that have personal access learn how to use those devices to be productive, lifelong, 21st century learners.
Now, do we see how bringing students' own devices can really make an impact in our classroom? The students won't necessarily just be relying on the school to provide these materials for them. They can have access to their own devices, allowing equal opportunity among all students. So what is this going to take for it to be a success in our school? We must have some stakeholder support. Without stakeholder support, a BYOD initiative will fail quickly. The school is no longer just a relationship between a teacher and a student to ensure success of that student. It takes participation from all of the school's stakeholders, the administration, the parents, the technology department, the aides, the students, the parents, and the teachers, according to Ackerman and Krupp. So let's say I just wanted to do it in my classroom. What kind of support would I need? In my classroom, I would definitely need the teacher support. All teachers would have to be on board. The students would have to be supportive of it by bringing their devices every day ready to learn and ready to be charged and go. We would need school administration support to make sure that we have the access points that we need. And also the technology department would have to be available to help us with creating acceptable use policies, liability concerns, things like that. Our instructional coaches need to help the teachers in the classrooms use the technology in the correct way. But most importantly, the parents have to be the main support system. They're the ones going out buying the devices, allowing their child to use them at school. So the parents have to be on board with it. If it was a school support system, we would also have the same people involved, except it would be all students of the school, all parents of the school involved, and all teachers, not just that subsection. And if we wanted to continue, we would want to continue to go out to the district technology level. Like at my school, we would want to get the archdiocese involved to let them know, hey, this is something we're doing. Do we have all the correct technology needs? And get the IT departments involved from the district level to come and help us set things up. And we would also want the community involved so that they can see what we're doing, so that when our students go to the high school levels, they will know what our students have been doing at the elementary and middle school level. And then I know the local colleges will be accepting of it because the students will already be prepared when they get to college, and this is something that they will definitely do when they get to college. Now, the next part, some policies. We all know with this, policies are going to change and policies are going to have to be adjusted. So the first thing would be our accessible use policy. Ours currently is focused more towards a one-to-one device initiative that is devices provided by the school. So we would have to discuss this change in policy before we actually deploy the technology. We wouldn't want to deploy the technology, let the initiative go, and then start creating the acceptable use policy and making the changes, because then it would be pointless. We want to have these clear ideas thought out and thought of as a team. Now, it's very easy for me to say this is what I would do and this is how I would do it. I'm going to give y'all some examples of what I see would be beneficial when doing a bring your own device initiative. But in real life, I would want to meet with the administrators. I would want to meet with other teachers, with other parents, and with the technology department and instructional coaches, and everyone as a team decide on how to officially change these policies in the school so that it better impacts our students and makes them a better 21st century learner. So some of the changes that would have to take place. We would have to allow other devices to be able to access the school network, meaning our school network would have to change. We would have to have an IT department come in and refocus some of those access points and things like that we have on campus to allow it to not be so password protected so that other devices can be accessed other than the school devices. We would have to add a no privacy expectation while on the school network to our AUP policy. We would want to add that to where the students understand, yes, while this is your own device, we still are able to access what you are viewing on our network and what you're doing on our network so that you don't bog down the network and make, harmful decisions on the network. You would also want to discuss the responsibility of the device's security. How are you going to keep these safe? What's going to happen if a device is broken? How is that going to go into place? We would want to set up these liability concerns so that the students know, hey, this is what's going to happen, and the parents know this is what's going to happen. Ultimately, my opinion is that if something were to happen to a device while on campus, that would be the parent's responsibility to fixing the device and not the school's responsibility. And you would want to include that in your AUP policy. And you would also want to provide students with a self-service link, meaning if you want to have access to different links that the students can use on campus, different products that you want the students to use on campus, they have a self-service link where they can go and install those devices and those programs on their own personal computers. This right here, if you click on it, you will see an example. This is a good example to look at. It's St. Paul's Episcopal School bring your own device acceptable use policy that they used. So I would use this as a start in a tech meeting if we were going to adjust our AUP policy and make it look a little bit more like this and add our own individual school concerns into it. Now, let's go back. And it's important for our stakeholders to understand that just because we create the AUP policy doesn't mean that it's going to stay like that all the time. It is a living document that will change throughout the process of implementing Bring Your Own Device initiative, and we are going to make yearly updates as we see them. And it's going to be the responsibility of the tech person and the teachers to go in and report the things that they are seeing happening that we might not have thought of as a tech team at the beginning of this. Now, when thinking about devices that are going to be allowed, in my opinion, I believe that they should be allowed to use laptops, tablets, and smartphones of any brand, such as like Apple, Samsung, Google, Motorola, and Windows. And I believe this because these are the common tools that are being used in classrooms today. So I know that students are familiar with them. You would want them to have a device that they are familiar with. You wouldn't want to give your child a device that they have no idea how to use, because it's not going to be the teacher's responsibility to teach how to use the device. It's going to be the student's responsibility to understand how to use the device and how to assist them in their learning. I would not suggest using smartwatches as a device, because I would have that in my AUP policy that they're not allowed, because those are so tiny that it's hard for us to monitor cheating and text messaging and things like that. But it will be the teacher's responsibility for monitoring which device the students are using. And at the beginning of the year, the teachers will record on a Google form, which will be sent to the tech coordinator, what devices the students have chosen to use. And if at any point during the year a student decides to change a device, they must meet with the tech coordinator to have that change recorded in the program that the tech coordinator, probably an Excel document or something like that, that the technology coordinator has chosen to use to keep up with these devices, so that she is aware of what devices are allowed on the network and what devices are using our network. Now, some best practices. Best practices are things that teachers, administrators, tech coordinators, all kinds of things that need to be in place when an bring your own device initiative is being planned. It's important to remember that there are going to be some complications that occur, and that is okay, but those complications and those struggles that you experience, they need to be addressed quickly in order for it to be a success, to ensure that parents understand that we are going to keep your child motivated and keep the initiative going, that we are on board, we are ready to fix it. Your IT department is ready to see any things that happen to the network and things like that, that you have access points available to those students to fix anything. And that comes from Rath's article that he wrote in 2002. Now, if you look up here, you will see a video about bringing your own device in education, and just some different projects that students are able to use, some best practices that teachers are using to implement with the Bring Your Own Device initiative.
One-to-one program began last year as we were looking at some of the successes we had with students using technology, and we did a little bit of research, deciding what would be the best tool if we were going to do this, and from there we made a plan.
With the support of our parents and our teachers, we scaled up in a very short amount of time to full one-to-one in all grades 6, 7, and 8. All 420 students online with their own Chromebook that they purchased through Staples.
When it was brought up, I thought, I'm not a techie person. I don't think that I could make use of this technology because it's so intimidating.
We're not a terribly techie family, so it was a bit of a stretch for us.
As a teacher, sometimes you feel like there's this tidal wave of things that are always just kind of drowning you, or you're caught in this tornado, and to throw a Chromebook into the hands of every student, that's a difficult thing to do.
We have to kind of keep up with the way the world is going, and so we need to stretch ourselves.
And so I thought, well, I want to try something new in education. This is the way the world is going, so why not?
My website I made on Wix, and it took me a while to make, but it was honestly pretty easy.
We've done a couple of stop motion videos for like an environmental project and a battle scene.
I did a website based off ancient Mesopotamia. So our Get Out and Vote video project was based on social studies. We decided to do a newscast discussing the Syrian refugee crisis.
The growth that the students have had through the use of Chromebooks has been amazing.
And I'm optimistic about the changes that they're going to make in the world. I think we really are empowering them to be leaders in the world. Just the knowledge and the power that they're able to tap into. They've got the world at their fingertips.
I've also seen kids who are really shy about their work to really stretch themselves and do something amazing and know they've done something amazing. So the whole idea of giving kids freedom to have their own voice, if the teacher's excited about that, then this is great.
I am learning new things all the time on here, and it allows me to create new things and feel more confident with other things outside of the Chromebook world.
Her personality's actually changed quite a bit. She was very shy last year. This year she's a lot more confident, and I know it's because of that program. So
I feel I get a better education. I feel smarter, and I feel that I have power over my learning. Now we can communicate with each other when we're doing homework, and we don't have to go to each other's houses.
We're really privileged to have this technology because we can use it for whatever we want. Technology makes me feel determined, excited, and just innovative. We get to step outside our comfort zone. We get to make new things. Right now, at this moment, I couldn't imagine school without these Chromebooks because they've helped me so much.
the one-to-one program I just love. I don't want to go back.
Learning is no longer 8:30 to 2:30. Learning for kids can be when and where it happens, and I think that's just extremely powerful.
If we can tap into the kids, what their interests are, and we give them the tools and they can have an authentic audience and it's personalized and it's meaningful for them, they will do amazing things.
The learning experiences that we've had in our classroom, because we've had technology literally sitting on our desk all day, it's been fantastic. I don't want it any other way.
If you were wondering how bring your own device can impact your own classroom, I've created a top 5 list of best practices that can be used in your classroom to begin implementation. So you would just click there, and the first thing to remember would be don't try to fix the device. You want to help students if it's an easy fix, but your job is not to go ahead and fix the devices and be familiar with all the different devices. That is the responsibility of the students. You want to use the devices to encourage collaboration. You want to use your iCloud capabilities if you're using an Apple device, the Google apps on all devices, and Nearpod to allow students to collaborate with one another on projects and in-class assignments. You want to use them to get feedback. You want to use things like Kahoot or Quizlet Live to get immediate feedback and encourage that competition in your classroom on the material that you taught. You want to also use them to increase creativity and have students download apps like Adobe Spark or Scratch app and have students use these apps to create projects and different digital stories and presentations. And then you want to also use them to administer assessments using apps like Socrative or GoFormative. They will help you speed up your grading process, but also give you more of an analysis of what questions students are missing and things like that. So they can definitely impact your classroom using these best practices for bringing your own devices. That is all I have for you today. These are my references. I used fiber links to describe the different devices that I would use, and Anchorman and Rath's information was really good about best practices and what policies and things needed to happen. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a good day.